SOG.
What is up, my dudes and ladies? Welcome to this part 2 of the Project Mammoth Custom Mobile Support Vehicle Project. I know it's been a long time, but what can I say? It's a pretty daunting project, but once I get past what I consider the hump, things are going to be just going faster, and it's what I consider the fun part of the project. Anyway, let's dive into this. As you can see here, all 4 transaxles are already assembled without the servo, because some things have to be established first before I can install one of these in each of these 4 transaxles. And that is a big departure from the Scarab. The Scarab uses two servos, I don't know if you can see it right there, that will steer these 3 wheels. One servo for the front and another servo that takes care of the 2 rear wheels. In this case, we basically have a system that gives each transaxles more power in terms of steering, and it still allows for mixing, meaning I can crab steer, or just front or rear steer, or all wheel steering. And let's see. Now there's one thing that kind of slowed the project down. I discovered that these really cool shock absorbers, brand new, and they're too long. And so I've got some on order, shorter, and what I feel are even better designs to go on this chassis. I finally was able to design and make it. It is somewhat similar to the way the basic design of this chassis is, but I feel that this is more rigid because of the added length and the added weight. And the only thing I can imagine adding to this is another piece of aluminum that will bolt through here. It bolts through here, it angles here, 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 and then it goes back up there. It gives it more rigidity, and it will resist any kind of bending that way, because of the weight. And these cross members are thick. They're thick aluminum. So I went this route where I just used extruded angles to do the bends that I want. Right there, and you can see the angle pieces like that. So they're throughout here. And if you look at my finger, you have an idea of how thick these pieces are in this. And the last thing I've done so far is these shock mounts. As you can see, the plan was to install, just like on the Scarab, 2 aluminum oil-filled shock absorbers on each of these mounts. So you have about, I believe, 16 that will go on there. It's just that these are too long, like I mentioned, and it would overstretch or exceed the angle that it was designed to do. Anyway, let's get into the second part of the video. I'm at the shop and I just cut 2 of these pieces. These will reinforce the chassis, and we're gonna see how it fits. Hopefully I measured everything right, and if so, then everything should fit the way I planned it. You remember these? Yeah, these are the shocks that are too long. And the good news is the new shocks came in, and check these out. Wow, right? That looks so trick, man. It's basically a high volume oil filled shock that has a reservoir here for extra oil. And as you can see, that is the big difference in length. Now you can see what I mean by the shocks are too long. And they're both adjustable. Everything is aluminum. Man, these are so cool. I might actually get some more of these. They come in several colors, and I might get some for that, because it's just so cool looking. Anyway, let's go on. All right. Well, after much planning, measuring, and everything, I finally finished the chassis. There it is. Everything is tightened up. No temporary bolts in there to hold the parts in place. Everything is, all the fasteners that is going to be permanently in there. Everything has been Loctited, so nothing should back out. And as you can see, the that there is the reinforcement piece that I cut earlier, and I'm happy to say that everything was measured precisely as I planned and bolted on with no problem. So this chassis is probably twice as rigid as the Scarabs. And the next step will be to install the servo like that on the rest of the transaxle, so that I can finally put it in there in its finalized form. As you can see, the servos are now installed on each transaxle. It's a little bit tricky because it's a tight space to squeeze the servo in here and bring it out here and then put all the hardware on, but we got it done. And they're pretty much ready. The only thing I have to install is the rest of these hardware, so that there's something for the shocks, the lower part of the shocks to mount on, right? And there's going to be, like I said, 2 on each corner, on each wheel. And so the next time you see these, it should be already mounted on the chassis. So let's go see what that looks like. Whoa, look at that. Man, that was a job. As you can see, all of the transaxles are in. All the servos are in. Goodness, that was a chore. The shock absorbers are mounted. Worked out all the angles so they're not binding or anything. As you can see, there's ample articulation there. Anyway, the hard part is over. This was the thing that kept me from starting this project, was because I know what I had to do. I knew what I wanted. I knew what I expected of my builds to do. And that meant a lot of engineering. I couldn't just copy what I did there on this, because this is a lot longer and it was going to be a little bit more heavier with the fourth axle and everything. Now for the wheels, I don't know if I covered it already, but I have 4 pairs of these rare tire and wheel combinations, and this is from a company called IMAX, and these are real dualies. So yeah, there's two tires in there, and what I like about this is they offer more support. And this is more of a command vehicle that has to be able to go on all terrains, but not necessarily like rock crawling, you know. So whether you're talking about missions in the deep jungles of Thailand to like the hostile, you know, snowy conditions or of the Antarctic, I imagine that this vehicle would be suited for that. And that's how I imagined the theory behind this vehicle would be in full scale. Anyway, I'm excited to be able to use this because I had intended this before for that, but it didn't offer that. It was because it's too stiff, and I need like those tires to be able to contour to like terrain. Well, this is more suited for the Mammoth. Anyway, ta-da! I got it done. I'm so happy. And we are gonna go on to the next segment, the final segment of this video. Guys, check that out. I mounted the tires and placed the body on the chassis for now. It's not bolted on because I do want to channel all of these body parts so that the frame rails will fit flush underneath, because there is a recess back there, and that'll give it a good solid mounting position. Anyway, let's go and discuss quickly our plans for this from front to back. In this front cab, we do have a lot of plans. We want to, or I want to, put in a working steering wheel and shifter. And what I mean by that is both is going to have a steering wheel on both pilot and co-pilot side, and a central shifter in the center console that actually will be working. And it's going to have servo power, so when I steer this thing, the steering wheel will move in conjunction. And when I accelerate, brake, or reverse, the same thing will happen to the shifter, where it's going to go forward, middle, and then back. It's something that I can turn off, because obviously if I have regular G.I. Joes in there, their tight joints might not go with the movement of the steering wheel and the shifter. So I do plan to prepare a special G.I. Joe figure so that the head will also move in the same direction I'm steering, And the arms will be like that of a marionette, where the shoulders, elbow, and perhaps even the wrist is loose, so that it will easily go with the movement of the steering and the shifter. And that's going to be really trick. Now, to save on power, I can turn all of those off and just place a regular G.I. Joe figure in there, and that'll just be fine. All the instrument panels are going to be backlit, so they will light up. And for the middle part here, this in essence will be a passenger's or a crew cabin. They're gonna sit just like these guys, gonna have seats in there, but they're going to face the opposite direction, so they're in essence back to back. This thing will be taken out. That will be where the people in here will enter and egress out of there. This door will have a stopper so that it will not hit the tire. And it will have, I'll build like little steps in there and a little grab handle here perhaps. Yeah, no, I might do a grab handle here and then a small grab handle here. And that's where they're going to enter and egress, like I said. The middle part here is, I'm going to build a box that goes in the middle that matches the contour of the mobile support vehicle, and it will have details like this to match, you know, the overall look. Mostly on the other side, because I think I like this the way it's configured. So it's going to be, it's still a whole module, but it's going to have a recess for this basket to rest in. And then here it'll have mounting points to secure the basket in place when it's running. And of course there's going to be added details in there to simulate, you know, hydraulics and whatever, you know, that probably powers this whole thing. And on top here we have another spare basket that will be clipped on to the roof. It doubles as an equipment rack, and if needed can be used as an emergency rescue litter. And for the rear cab, this is where the show will happen. And basically where everything that was on the mobile support vehicle's rear cab is going to stay, where it has the instrument panels, all 3D, meaning it's not flat illustration. The map will be upgraded, and you'll see what I do with that. The equipment rack here will stay, except that this time, since it is an RC model, everything in there has to be able to stay on the rack. So we're going to implement things that keep whatever we're going to put in there to stay put and not rattle around and do whatever havoc. Well guys, that's what I've got for you today. Thank you for sticking with me through the end of this video. I know it's long, but it is a build video, so that's just inherent in the nature of these kinds of videos. Anyway, I hope you guys stick with me through the future episodes, because there are a lot more things coming. Some things may stay, some things may go. But either way, it's going to be exciting. And I myself am looking forward to the day when this is finally finished and rolling on the road and making appearances on our videos. Anyway, this is Robert for MacSog Adventure International. And hey guys, keep doing that voodoo that you do, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.